Hi. Welcome to another edition of the Carpenter Shop. We're growing, hopefully deeper, in our journey of faith as we spend some time in the Carpenter Shop. Jesus grew up in the Carpenter Shop, not a bad place to hang out, learn a lot of things about life, and hopefully, as we learn about life and we see how God fits into the plan, we come out stronger, better at the other end. I want to read you a passage of Scripture out of the book of Ephesians, Ephesians 3, 8, and 9, New American Standard Version. To me, the very least of all saints, this grace was given to bring light what is the administration of the mystery for the ages that has been hidden in God who created all things. I read that and I have to almost stop and reread it. I don't know if it sounded weird when I read it. It did to me, even as I read it to you just now. When we hear about the administration, or sometimes we might want to translate that the economy. Sometimes that can be good or bad. If we're not careful, we set our hopes on the wrong thing. We count on the economy to be the source for our well-being. As I'm recording this, I'm not sure when you're watching it, but as I'm recording this, we live in an economic period of our lives where there seems to be an inflationary problem going on. We hear a lot of talk about the economy. We hear a lot of talk about gas prices, and we hear a lot of talk about rising costs, supply chains, lack of food on the shelves, escalating cost of things where American families are having to live paycheck to paycheck and they don't have any excess money. We're talking about rising interest rates. We're talking about homes all of a sudden being a lot harder to buy, cars being a little bit harder to finance. All of those things are part of the economic swirl of the day. But believe it or not, we get our word economy from a Greek word, oikonoma. This word occurs 18 times in the New Testament. And it's all based upon this idea that we are responsible for being good stewards of the stuff that God gives us. It's based on this idea of running a household. It's based on the idea of managing assets wisely. You say, well, what's the point? Well, the point is simply this. When you read the headlines today, you've got to ask yourself, who's really in charge of the economy? Now, I know that when you stop to get gas and the prices are high, you think, well, okay, somebody needs to fix this. And I'm with you. I do exactly the same thing. I sigh a lot. My vehicle right now is so thirsty because it hasn't been full for months, it seems. But at the end of the day, it really is God that should be in charge of the economy of your life. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean simply that you have limited, manageable resources that God has entrusted to you. So, do you want to have an economic problem, or do you want God to have an economic problem? Because if you're faithful with the resources that He entrusts to you, then it's God's responsibility, because He said He would take care of you, to make everything work and to somehow provide a way in the things that you need. I'm one of those people that as I follow God, I'm always maybe a little bit more practical, but also maybe even a little bit frightened at times. I don't want to do things my way. If there's an economic problem, I want it to be God's problem. If there's a money problem, I want it to be God's problem, not my problem. If there is a resource problem, I want it to be God's problem, not my problem. And the way that simply works is I have to be obedient with what I've been entrusted, and when I am, God says He will be faithful. It's how the economy of God works. And so let me let you know that even in tough economic times as a nation, the economy of God always works, always has, always will. That's what the book says. The book doesn't lie. And so trust Him with every area of your life, including your pocketbook. That's an important lesson to learn. Important lesson for all of us to learn and put into play in our lives. And so I look forward to joining you for another trip through the Carpenter Shop as we walk together and discover who God has created us to be.